Rogers is an autistic boy. He's 15 years old. He's been missing from Henersonville, Tennessee. And everybody has been looking for him. Everybody. He is 5 foot 5 inches tall. He weighs 120 pounds. Sandy blonde hair, and he wears glasses. And again, there is no footprint of him whatsoever.
You think back, and there might have been a reason he was possibly upset, or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside. Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. That morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving.
This boy, I've done told y'all, reminds me of my son that had autism, that is my third son. And he disappeared right down the road from part of where my family lives. And I take all of these cases serious. I am not playing about anything right now.
The original thinking was that Sebastian Rogers left home on his own, but the fact that he disappeared without a trace now has authorities looking into the very real possibility of foul play.
I'm not trying to accuse them of anything. I'm trying to tell you how suspicious they are now becoming.
Everywhere you go, you can hear the laughter. Little kids playing, chasing after. Innocence shines bright like a built-in light. With their giggles and smiles, everything feels right. Oh, the joy of little children filling up the air. Their happiness, contagious, nothing can compare. Just watch them run and play, carefree and wild. Oh, the joy of little children.
Hello. I'm going to tell y'all what. I love that picture of Sebastian with his little puppies. I really do. I love that photo so much. Anyway, hello, Janice. Thank you for being here, beautiful. Miss Millie. H. Davis. Hello, honey. Hello. Kiki, hello again. Let's see here. We got Plant Lady. D. White, hello. Welcome. Daniel Sportsberry, hello. It is Monday. It's felt like Monday all day, like a crazy Monday. Hello. Welcome. Let's see. Cindy, Christy. I don't know why I said Cindy. Christy, you look just like this girl I know named Cindy. Maybe that's why. And I am wounding down for the night. There's my Christy Smith, though. Thank you for being here. Oh, my goodness. Susan, hello. So good to see you. Good to see you all. Miss McGoo, hello again. Yes, you get 3 out of me today. You get 3. How about that? So I didn't know who all was still up or anything. Usually I'm already passed out by this time. I still got to go get me a shower and everything, man. I was thinking, should I do it before or after? I'm like, I'll just do it after, man. It is what it is. Oh my goodness. It's been a crazy day. Are you okay, H. Davis? We're still sending you prayers, honey. Sending you lots and lots of prayers. You're a night owl. I know. I used to be. I just can't do it much anymore. I'm just telling you, I can't. Just can't. So we got a lot going on here. today or tonight. Yeah, stay strong. Stay strong. Hey, Summer Rain, how are you? How are you doing? We got a lot going on. Excuse me. I'm getting all choked up here. Man, I don't know what's wrong with me. It's June 23rd still, 2025. Some places, I guess it's the 24th, but right here where I'm at, it's still June 23rd. So that's what it is. That's what it is. If you're still up and you come in, see, I'm losing my voice. If you're still up and you're coming in, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being here and coming in to watch and share your thoughts and your opinions. Everything is based on opinions only. We don't really have no facts, do we, except what's come out of the parent's mouth. So what is going on? Yeah, good night, H. Davis. Try to get you some rest and many prayers. We're praying for you, okay? Thanks for coming in. Hey, show poodles. And most of everything that we got going on is for what they're telling us. But there was some interesting thoughts that I had after Jennifer Coffindaffer came on tonight and spoke on Sebastian. So I do want to talk about that a little bit. Because you know me, and last time she came on, the whole world got thrown upside down in a tailspin, including myself. I was like, whoa, what is this about? No, I didn't go off the rails or anything too bad, but it was just kind of crazy. But there was a little bit of change tonight, and there's some things I want to speak on. And if you didn't hear that video, we're going to go over some of it. We're not going to go over all of it. So let's go over that first. How about that? Let me go ahead and give her, wrong thing here again. Okay, so let's go ahead and give her credit. Let me play a little bit of music. Let me see. Make it a little bit low. Let's see. All right, so I'll put it about right there. Hey, Town Chat Cafe and everybody coming in. Thank you for being here. So, hold on just a second.
My name's Jen Coffindaffer. I'm retired federal agent for 28 years, 25 years as a special agent with the FBI. This is a fact-based channel. I'm not the channel that you're going to go to hear me talk about how other channels are horrible and they're all criminals and they serve time in jail and blah, blah, blah. You're not going to hear that here. I'm not that type of a channel, but we are going to really get into and discuss crime and very specific cases, and especially as Idaho 4 is around the bend. And that was the number one case I really covered just in every form of mainstream media right after everything happened. I'm really going to kick back into that and put a stronghold on that case again. But tonight, let's talk about Sebastian Rogers. I first want to focus on something that really bothered me. We have talked about for a long time the timing of events. Essentially, back on February 25th was the last time this young man was seen from the accounting of his mother, Katie Proudfoot, who was the only person in the house and the last person to see him.
Thank you,
We
Millie.
know we have proof of life independent of her from a Texas
I
Roadhouse
want y'all to
restaurant where
listen
they
to this
ate.
right here.
That film broke several months ago, and everybody kind of got to look at it and dissect it. What was interesting is I had that for so long, but I did not post it. And then, of course, everybody started posting it. So I went ahead and posted it. But in any event, that footage, we know he was alive. And in addition, we have footage from it's really audio, if you will, from a vehicle device that was in Katie Proudfoot's car. So we also have that proof of life on the 25th, 2025. What we don't have is anything after that. That's been confirmed. There's no video footage. There's no eyewitness footage. There is nothing. No footage that identifies Sebastian Rogers by face, by voice, by anything after the 25th. Now, I want you to take a look at this particular document I have up here. So before the live, in preparation, I went ahead and looked at where does the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, what's their missing alert look like, if you will. And this is what I found. It's on their website still. And I just want you to denote this date. I'm sure you see it on there. It says February 26th. Now, we did a live on this where we just really dug in on this point. And obviously, law enforcement follows a lot of different channels that give information regarding Sebastian Rogers, interviews that are done, and so forth. And I want you to denote that this Tennessee Bureau of Investigation poster is still wrong. It's still wrong. Shocking. I want to put up next the Amber Alert. This is if you go to the Sumner County website. So Sumner County still, thankfully, at least has Sebastian up there. Also Summer Wells up there. And you'll see again, Sumner County still, even though from their own lips, they said nothing after the 25th, that the 26th was the report date, the 25th was the last seen date. This is important, people. It's so important from a lot of different aspects. We've seen in court how
Oh, sorry. Yes, I am. Thank you. Sorry about that. I said, Christy, are you talking about the ones at the very beginning that was in the box that was found allegedly with KP's name on them and all that stuff at the beginning of this case? It was up by there at in a box by Worsham's. That's where it was at the store. So what did you want to know about that? Because I'm not sure I should be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what was your question about that? Just where they were? I mean, that's where it was at up there by Worsham's. Yeah, you know what? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Why were they there? It was some other things there besides just the photos. My understanding is this. I'll just go ahead and say it. maybe I won't say all of it. Millie, you can stop me anytime now. My understanding is this. I won't just say the who, what, when, where. And I don't know who's put out what or who knows what, but somebody did get that or collect that or whatever. But I will say that, to my knowledge, Sumner County did not come get it. And a person held on to it, which really pisses me off for a while, because that person could have marched it up into the Sumner County Sheriff's Office just as well. They know who they are. And no, it's not a creator. And it's not a creator. And anyway, from my understanding, I don't know why that Sumner County didn't come check into it. But as far as I know, that's what happened. Other than that, I don't know. So, and I was told that as factually. That's all I can say. It don't matter, Kiki. I know the who, and I don't think you want to know the who is the problem. So, and I'm not being rude. I'm just thinking you might not want to know the who. Sometimes you might not want to know. I don't know why they didn't. And then I heard it's a good possibility that this person held on to it for a while and they got tired of holding on to it and they got rid of it, which is getting rid of evidence. So I don't know. Yeah, sometimes you're better not to know. Sometimes I wish I didn't know some of the stuff that I knew, but that's just that. How did it get there, Christy? Your guess is as good as mine. Is that something that was dumped that morning? Is that something that was handed off to Mama's socks? I don't know. This case is, unreal. We'll just leave it at that. This case is very screwy, if you ask me. I would just think if there was anything planted or not planted, that if it was photographs or anything that could have had, thank you, hindsight. Absolutely. And there's many reasons, because you don't forget, and Kiki's new, so don't forget, because it could also fall over into other cases you may do. So let's not forget that. So you're right. Some things are better left unsaid. Anyway, and the less you know, sometimes the better. I'm just saying. Where was I going with that? I don't even know where I was going with that. But it no matter if it was pictures or not, or if it was just something in a box, but if it was planted or not, and it had KP's name on it or something like that, or it was to be a setup, they should have come and got it and investigated it. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, that should have been. So they were up there by the store, Christy, to answer your question. Screwy is perfect. In this case, God, anything might go. I don't know. But yeah. So we're not going to go through this whole entire video. I don't know who saw that, but I do want y'all to listen to some of this. So, and listen to what she says about the audio. That's important too.
How if law enforcement has something wrong, they can twist that and turn that upside down. They could say they're incompetent. They can make a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to anything being wrong. They should have the flippin' correct date on these posters. It's a tragedy, a travesty, and incompetence that they didn't go back and correct these. Now, I want to show you something else here. If you look on the FBI's website, and I'm very proud to report this, that my former agency, oh, did I take this one down? Shoot. Well, anyway, my former agency actually, this only lets me store 10 images, so I apologize. But I looked on the FBI's website, and the FBI's poster has it correct. They not only have Sebastian Rogers' date of birth, date of last seen correct, they also have an updated photo that is much more indicative of his looks when he went missing than the Tennessee and the Sumner County. So I was really proud of the Bureau. Literally, after we did our live, within like 2 days, that was changed. And I don't know if you remember, but I did a live right after that. And I said, look at this, the Bureau changed it. Tennessee Bureau has it, Sumner County has it. I think that is super remiss.
I'm sorry.
And I'm really embarrassed for them as the lead agencies in this. They can't get the date he went missing wrong when they are the ones that said he's never been seen since the 25th.
Sometimes
All right, I beat that horse a little bit. I want to talk about who is in charge of this investigation. So as it stands right now, Sumner County is still in charge of the investigation. And as that, I don't want to do that. Sorry, I want that to be blown up. See if I can make that bigger. There we go. And as such, Mr. Craddock is in charge. Now, I wanted to put up his resume. This isn't about a, indictment or anything negative on Mr. Craddock per se, but I certainly want to bring up the fact that he is large and in charge. Okay. He is, you can see from this that I make a lot out of this when I
He's
look
a pretty
at this. This
boy,
is a
I'll
guy
give
who
him that.
came on,
That's
basically
not all.
grew up in that area, came right out of, school, began at the rock bottom of the agency and built his way up. We have a name for that in the FBI. We call them blue flamers. They are people who come on board and with the idea that someday they want to be sheriff. In the case of the FBI, they want to be the special agent in charge of that division, not the director, because the director are appointments, but they typically are people who come on board as line agents. They can't wait to raise their hand to be a supervisor. Then they raise it again to be an ASAC, then again, hopefully to be an SAC, which is very difficult. But they do all the moves. You have to move in the Bureau. You have to, check certain boxes, training boxes and things like that. Obviously be successful in whatever you do. In some instances, I know a woman who literally worked at what we call CGIS, which is where they keep track of all the fingerprints. It's the fingerprint mecca. And she worked her way up through there and ended up becoming a special agent in charge, even though, because I know this because of agents that I was very close to that worked with her as an agent. She didn't even do cases. She helped out on cases. She became a supervisor, but always in an administrative role. That's neither here nor there. It's just to say that when you get on this track, that is your goal. Some FBI agents get into the FBI. This is my category. I got into the FBI to put bad guys in jail. I was very motivated. Some of you may know my backstory, but whether you do or not, it's irrelevant. That was my goal. And it wasn't just my goal. Most of the people I hung out with, most of the people that I was around, that was their goal. And it was to put bad guys in jails, to conduct investigations, to do that. So there's two different roles. When I look at that, that is what I see here. And I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with this, because I got to tell you, I admired a lot of the agents that I knew that did it the right way, that were actually really good at their jobs, good at what they did, and rose to, get a desk and to move on. In fact, there were a lot that became supervisors that I said, please put in for ASAC, please put in for special agent in charge, because they were competent and they were great. But typically those guys never really, once they get on that road, they're like, can I go back down and be an agent again? Because that's the best work that there is, in my opinion. But nevertheless, I see that from this. So what does that tell me? You know, he doesn't have really much outside experience. You can see his experience that he sort of outlines there, and it's all fine. But it tells me, again, he's homegrown within the agency. This was his goal. And it's just gives me a little background. Now, I went further on that website, and I've been looking at, well, what have they been doing? What does Sumner County have on their website? We could see there's 60 pages of this, you know, glad handshaking since he became sheriff, doing a lot of things that you might expect somebody who's in more the role of being in charge, sheriff doing, right? Glad handshaking, he's doing all the community service stuff. I saw some of this, you know, he's doing stuff. There's cookouts, there's playing, there's, you know, I'm not saying that's all they're doing. Believe me, I get it. You know, you do stuff on the side. But I've got to be honest, I was so disappointed to see this. I was so disappointed to see
his job.
that, at least from what I could tell in all these pictures and what's been going on since he was elected sheriff, which was not long ago, just last year. I'm like, well, where are the pictures of at least one search for Sebastian? You know, where's the picture of something to get the community together to say, hey, listen, this is, you know, the search grids that have never been touched, or let's go back and look at some of those cave type areas that are close to his house. Believe me, I am not sitting here telling you that he walked out. I don't think he did. I think he was either taken out, or after he was out, he was taken. So, and perhaps, and I think quite probably, that's what law enforcement thinks. But that doesn't mean, just like in Kaylee Anthony, and most cases, the bodies are found in close proximity to wherever things would have happened. I am so sorry to say that on here. If Seth is on here, or any, you know, one who personally knows Sebastian Rogers, I'm so sorry to say that. But I'm just saying, we have to now focus in on a possible reality. And I just wanted to see something that had to do with Sebastian Rogers in the last year. Something. I saw nothing. I saw lots of other things. I saw nothing. And that really bothered me, because it makes me really wonder what they are doing. And I have been, as you've all seen, a big supporter of law enforcement. In fact, on my last segment on Sebastian Rogers, I specifically talked about how in law enforcement, nobody more than law enforcement wants to find these children. I mean, this is, except for the parents and loved ones. I mean, this.
Honestly, she has, and I will touch on that a little bit. I'm not going to go berserk crazy or anything, because now she's back on the good side. But you know, not that she's on any side, but I'll tell, when I get into what I'm going to talk about, you'll see what I mean, and why that I think she's doing that. I just wanted to show you this video first. And I might have already passed the one. I don't know if you heard or not what she said about the video, or him coming home from the Texas Roadhouse. And it was video only. Video only. No visual. We'll get there in a minute. Or if we already got there, I'll talk about it. Just wanted you to know.
This becomes your life, your what you do. You barely sleep, you barely eat, you're out there looking, you're investigating, you're doing everything in your power to find out. But what's happened is, and I know we've talked about, is a case cold, I mean, yeah, yes, yeah, that $50,000 reward that was offered at the end of last year, that already told me there's a problem, you know, that the case was, they weren't getting any more leads that were workable. They were hoping that somebody would respond. We also know that Dog and At Night and that crew added on, you know, somewhere around 150,000. I know it's well over $200,000. Honestly, that's what I mostly get to see. I literally get to see weekly almost the leads that are going into that agency. And these reports that go out, in fact, I got one today that kind of made me excited, but as I looked at it, it was basically an extortion report. I wanted to get excited, like a trafficking report, and where they were trying to extort money. I only mentioned that it's been given to the FBI, and I'm sure they're tracking it down. I'm certainly not going to go into a lot of detail here. But I'm just saying, of course, anytime something's viable like that, it comes in, it goes to the FBI. At least there's an avenue that somebody is taking outside information and funneling it back to the FBI.
No matter what.
And I feel very positive about that. I'm glad that somebody is taking it in, whether these are just nut jobs that are calling in these reports, writing. This was actually a written one, so it was really great because it could be tracked, and that was really helpful. But do I think it's going to be somebody just probably a nut job that's trying to take advantage? Yes. I mean, that's what happens a lot in these cases. I'm sure many of you know about it. When I see a case like that, I try to post it on my Twitter. People that are extorted. Basically, the parents get extorted. It's horrible. It happens in almost every case. It's happened in this case. It's happened in this case numerous times. We have Sebastian send this money, things like that. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that these parents have to suffer with, that law enforcement gets, down the road that leads to nowhere. And that's what's happened in this case. But I do appreciate the fact that, Dog has lent his resources, and at night is also, they're working in tandem and together to pick up these reportings or these reports that come into them through Dog typically. And I appreciate that. And I think all of us do. But really, what does law enforcement have to do? I mean, honestly, they don't owe any of us anything. I'm going to say that right off the bat. You and me in the public, we're not owed anything from law enforcement. But you know who is owed something? Seth Rogers is owed something.
And she's right about that. And I agree with her 100,000%. The parents are who is owed something. She got that 100% right that time. And that's what people need to understand. But the point of the matter is, they're not telling any parents anything as of late. And I doubt one of them hadn't been banging down the doors to get none either. Just saying.
If Katie and Chris Proudfoot are not subjects of the investigation, they are owed something. Parents are owed something. And I say that not from an armchair quarterback spot. I am saying that from the spot of somebody who has worked missing children, multiple cases, either on them covering leads or been the case agent or been in charge of the command post. It is absolutely not at all acceptable for Craddock or the detective or somebody to reach out to these parents with monthly updates. I don't care if that update is, we have no update. If that update is, listen, we got 50 tips in and all of them were bad. Or guess what? We have 0 tips in.
Yes,
0. This case is cold. Or you know what? Maybe it's, hey, we thought we had a good one. We had a couple of guys working on it. Or, hey, are you all still searching it all? What do we, can we complement a search you guys working on? For heaven's sake, something to the parents. That is what chaps me right now. Where is the victim advocacy? Where's the victim advocate for Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and for Sumner County reaching out to Seth Rogers? Where is that at? Keeping him apprised. And like I said, Chris and Katie, if they are not deemed subjects in terms of their investigation, what is happening here? The Bureau is lucky because we have what we call victim advocates. It's literally a department. It's back in headquarters and in the field offices. There's victim advocates. They typically have very amazing backgrounds of social work and psychology and advocacy work that they've done in their prior jobs before they get this job. I tell you, if anybody, because I know the type of audience that's here, if anybody is interested in a job that's not a special agent, either because you're over 27 or 37, or because you maybe physically, or you don't ever want to kill somebody, or you're not comfortable shooting, whatever it may be, that is such a great job to get with the FBI, to go on FBIjobs.gov and look at their victim advocacy programs.
In my opinion.
Now, I will say this right now. I don't think that FBI is hiring much of anyone at this particular moment because, we've seen all the cuts. They're actually getting paid to leave the FBI right now. I know I was just talking to a couple of my old squad mates. It's so funny. Most people have retired now. But there's a few that were newbies, just a few years in when I got in, and wonderful folks. And I was just talking to one the other day about another case. But in any event, you have to have an advocate communicating between the law enforcement party. That's how it works in the Bureau. In other words, I'm not necessarily going to be talking to those parents if I'm the case agent, but I tell you what, darn well make sure that advocate is, that I'm talking to the advocate. I can think of a case right now where it needed so much advocacy. I mean, that was a horrible case. And it was critical that the parents were kept up to speed. This is their child. This isn't a soap opera. It's not a game to that. This is their life. This is their only child, at least for Seth and for Katie. It's their only child. And for law enforcement not to communicate, for law enforcement to have the wrong date of disappearance, TBI and Sumner, for them not to have a more up-to-date photo.
You know what else is a crying shame? For his mother, her only child, her only son, her only flesh and blood that she carried for 9 months, to not give them the last updated photo, in my opinion, off of her phone, no less, that she literally had to give to law enforcement anyway, allegedly, and say, this is what he looks like. This is the very last photo of him. That's a crying shame. Just saying.
Is remiss. And I think you can see how can you have any confidence? And I quite frankly think Craddock, this is not in his windshield. This is in his rear view, this case. And he could say, oh yeah, we're actively have an Amber Alert. Well, yeah, it's sitting there. Summer Wells is active too. And that case is colder than a freaking salmon that's been in a freezer for 3 years. So, and this case is cold. I wanted to get on and talk about that because I know you all are wondering. The last press conference was April 2nd, 2024, people. I shouldn't say that. There was a press release. I want to get the exact date. I wrote it down. December 24th, 2024. That was the update after the film was released, the Texas Roadhouse. And you know what was on there? That was the person that was in green, the sweatshirt lady that they ended up tracking down and letting everybody know on social media, because it was running amok, that she wasn't a part of the investigation and they had cleared her, essentially. I've always said that film should have been dissected down to every single person that engaged with him, looked at him, was in the vicinity of him. I mean, you've all seen this footage. It's so weird. It's, he's sitting there, he's eating like he hasn't had a meal in 2 weeks, which again, could be normal. Just saying, he was a growing boy and things like that. His mom was attached at the hip to the cell phone, took a couple of pictures. Always wondered, and maybe, where is that picture? And let me know if you guys have seen it. Obviously, we've seen the video and we can take stills, but where's that picture? I think it looked like she took 2, if I'm recalling correctly. It's been a minute since I've watched that, but I always thought it was so bizarre that the green sweatshirt lady, they had never run that down until social media got onto it. And everybody was worried that person was involved, right? They always had an inkling she wasn't involved, but they never really ran it down. I always thought that was not good. Again, this is the house that Sebastian disappeared from. This wasn't a poor home. This was a very nice house. I was going to put on a couple more pictures of Sebastian here, but I look like I'm limited. There's one I wanted to put on. We've got to keep looking. We've got to keep looking. If he was taken for some reason, then got to be looking. Do I think he could be taken by somebody and never be seen? Highly, highly, highly unusual, but it does happen. Kids are trafficked and they're not seen. So it can happen. We're well over a year into Sebastian being gone, missing. And that's never good. But law enforcement needs to reach out to the parents and update. They don't owe us anything. It'd be nice for them to do something for them, not for us, so that some of us could improve our, viewpoint of Sumner County at this point, and TBI. Yeah, they're working hard behind the scenes. Well, it would, for their look, not for us, not because we're owed anything, but just reach out to your constituents and say what the deal is. This is cold as ice, or you know what? We are working this hard. We've got some leads. Think we might know. We think we don't know. This is a criminal investigation, which they've all but said in certain terms. So that's what I just wanted to get on tonight and say. I don't really want to belabor it, other than to say it's freaking
Let me go back.
and dissect it. What was interesting is I had that for so long, but law enforcement standpoint, and I've got a lot of things that I kind of want to touch on here. For those who have never been with us, my name's Jen Coffindaffer. Number one case I really covered just in every form of a long time.
I'm not
The
sure if this is
timing
part or
of
not.
events,
Hold on a
essentially
minute.
back on February 25th was the last time this
I wanna
young
hear
man
about the
was
audio.
seen from the accounting of his mother, Katie Proudfoot, who was the only person in the house and the last person to see him. We know we have proof of life independent of her. from a Texas Roadhouse restaurant where they ate. That film broke several months ago, and everybody kind of got to look at it and dissect it. What was interesting is I had that for so long, but I did not post it. And then, of course, everybody started posting it. So I went ahead and posted it. But in any event, that footage, we know he was alive. And in addition, we have footage from it's really audio, if you will, from a vehicle device that was in Katie Proudfoot's car. So we also have that. I first want to focus on something that really bothered me. We have talked about for a long time the timing of events. Essentially, back on February 25th was the last time this young man was seen from the accounting of his mother, Katie Proudfoot, who was the only person in the house and the last person to see him. We know we have proof of life independent of her from a Texas Roadhouse restaurant where they ate. That film broke several months ago, and everybody kind of got to look at it and dissect it. What was interesting is I had that for so long, but I did not post it. And then, of course, everybody started posting it. So I went ahead and posted it. But in any event, that footage, we know he was alive. And in addition, we have footage from it's really audio, if you will, from a vehicle device that was in Katie Proudfoot's car. So we also.
There you go. There it is. So actually, it's only audio. Hold on, I got something to say for that. And you can't not go here, even though I believe he made it home. Now I'm going, did he? Did he? Because if they only had audio and no video, first of all, you're right, Harley, that don't even make sense. And it took a couple of days for them to say, oh, yeah, by the way, I got this audio in my car. Exactly, Mama Marissa. Now, no wonder I see. So, yeah, and I believe 100,000%, I always have that this is pre-planned. I have said that and said that and said that and said that. Now, I'm not saying I'm convinced yet he didn't make it home, but we have to look at that. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. If it was only audio and they didn't give that audio up for a couple of days and say, oh, by the way, here's the audio. How do you know that audio wasn't of him going to Texas Roadhouse and it was somehow put on there? How do you know that? She knows what she's doing with all that technical stuff. Yep, just like the cameras in their house. Exactly, and it could have been, well, if it was forward-facing, it still didn't have no, well, it could have been forward-facing, you're right. Could have been. I don't know, manipulated, yeah. We don't know. We don't know. But I know one thing, it don't make sense. How about that? And why haven't the police done more? I'm going to tell you something. Law enforcement has not come out and said anything about if it was audio or video. But I'm concerned that this is the nearest thing to law enforcement that we're getting tonight. Oh yeah, I know it. I would give my left finger tell you that this was pre-planned. You're not going to make me think no different. Hey, Tennessee nurse. I remember way back in the beginning, it was said that she had him on video because everyone was asking if it was normal for her to take random video while driving. Right. Well, Sebastian has not, and he will not be forgotten. I can tell you that. His name and his face and his story is going to be out here. Like it or don't like it. We're going to tell it. We're going to tell what we can, because it is in, I know, my heart and my soul. You know, it's crazy. For 16 long months, Sebastian has been missing. His smile has been missing for 16 months. But everybody's still here watching, speaking, fighting. Well, I can think of 1, 2, you know. But we'll continue. I'll continue. The community will continue. The people that refuse to look, talk and look the other way, we'll talk for them. We'll say it louder. It's the way it is. But so let me just get this straight here and now. Jennifer Coffindaffer, ex-FBI agent of, 25 years? Last time she came on, like I said, all of these YouTube streets was, well, up in feathers, to say the least. Nobody knew what in the hell she was talking about or what had happened. And I like Jennifer. I'm sure she's a lovely person. I'm not going to say nothing bad about her tonight at all. And tonight, it seems like she come on after a while and she's done flopped back over to Seth's side, which is great. Hey, it never hurts to have an ex-FBI agent on your side, right? But I was thinking about it. Last time, I forgot what happened, but something was going on within Ellie and all that. And she come on and started saying all this kind of off-the-wall stuff. And people was wondering if she was speaking for Ellie. Tonight, I'm just saying this is the closest thing we got to law enforcement agent, even though she's retired, to come out and leak. Do you hear me? To come out with leakage that there's no visible video of Sebastian in that car. See, let me tell you something. You got to read between the lines, because let Smiley give y'all some schooling. Even though Smiley ain't a cop and I ain't got the education these people's got. But I ain't dumb. Well, let me just tell you this. People still got friends. And by her being a retired ex-FBI agent, that makes her a citizen just like you and me. Therefore, she gets no privileged information. How about them green apples? So, I'm just saying this is the closest thing we got to law enforcement. There's been awful lot of pressure going on lately. And all of a sudden now, she comes back out. And I'm, again, not saying anything bad about her. I'm telling y'all, you do what you want. But you can read between the lines if you're smart. Why is it being dropped? The leakage that there was no vigil, but there's videos. Is that something, that they want the public to know? But they don't want to come out and tell it themselves because they need to protect the integrity of the investigation. Did someone ask her to speak again? Perhaps drop some hints? And now she's back to being a fan of Sis. And kind of wishy-washy against Ellie. Okay. Look, it just makes me wonder. I'm just saying. Y'all can all think what you want to think. That's fine with me. Everybody has their opinions. I could be wrong, but it don't look right. I could be wrong, but it don't look right. I swear. I swear. Hey, Joe Neal. Just like summer. That's right. That's right. Look, Smiley ain't dumb. Y'all can do what you want to do. You can believe what you want to believe, and you can say what you want to say. Something ain't right. I say this. Why haven't the police done more? Just come out and talk, Eric Craddock. Come out and talk, Brandon Carter. Come out and talk, TBI. Come out and talk. Say what you mean and mean what you say. We don't need no rinse and repeat. We don't need nobody leaking crap. We want to hear it from the horse's mouth. That's right, Mama Rissa. We wasn't born yesterday. I wasn't. I didn't fall off the turnip truck last night. So now look, back to the audio. If they had the prior audio of Sebastian from a previous day or something, a recording, could that have been played inside the car intentionally to create a misleading trail? Of course it could. Which makes it a very scary possibility, in my opinion. If someone planned this, and I will say it was pre-planned from day one, and they had a recording of him talking, they could have staged this whole audio inside the car and imply his presence even if he wasn't physically there. Now, again, I'm not saying he didn't make it home. I'm not sure I'm quite convinced of that yet, but it is a very good possibility. And is that why he cannot be found by the, they had, I've said it over and over. I know I can't have it both ways. Neither can they. They had the military. They had, the marshals. They had everybody to come in there that no other kid has. No other parent has, no scent, no nothing, that I don't care if it was 5 miles or 10 miles, they drain ponds. They should have been able to find him alive, unalive, in my opinion. How did he just vanish so quickly? Maybe he did have a head start. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. I don't know. I don't know that I'm still convinced or not. I don't know. But it is a possibility. It's a possibility. And it's still a possibility that she transferred him off to Miss Kathy that day, in my opinion. I don't know. But again, why haven't the police done more? So now I have to say, did he really make it home? I think he did, but I'm not 100% confident now. Jennifer's right about one thing. LE, all of them, TBI, Sumner County, FBI, all of them, they don't owe us anything, but they do owe it to the parents. They do. And one other thing I agree with her on, so I did a little research on this, and I'm going to bring it to you. Jennifer's right about one thing that I definitely agree on, and that is the, what do you call that? The victim advocate. Okay. I don't know how any of that went down. I don't know if they were offered one, if they refused one. I don't know, because yes, you can refuse it. We'll get into that in a minute. Excuse me. But a victim advocate is a professional who provides, of course, support resources and guidance to victims of crime and their families. And they are there to help people navigate complex and often overwhelming aftermaths of a crime, emotionally, legally, and practically. And here's a breakdown of what they typically do. They offer emotional support. They provide a listening ear. They help victims process trauma and offer encouragement during difficult times. They offer crisis intervention. Thank you, Janice. Janice just gave somebody a membership gift. Hold on. There you are, Janice. Oh, now I can't get it back down. What'd I do? Hold on. There you are. Thank you. I can't see who got that. I don't know how everybody else sees, but thank you for that. I appreciate you very much. Love you, Janice. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, did Harley get it? Yay, Harley. Thank you. But they also explain legal processes, and they help victims understand the criminal justice system and the court procedures and their rights as victims. They may go with the victims to court hearings and trials or meetings with law enforcement to provide emotional support and guidance. And you know what? If this is what that they want. Okay. They also have plenty of connections, and they connect victims to the counseling, shelters, financial assistance, and other resources and other services needed after a crime. Also, they help victims create safety plans to stay safe, especially in cases of stalking and domestic violence, which this don't seem to apply here. Well, the domestic violence might on the other end. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for them. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. But anyway, they also assist with paperwork for state-funded programs that help cover medical bills, lost wages, funeral costs, and anything related to the crime, anything like that. They also help you with your victims' rights. They ensure victims are treated with dignity and respect, and that their voices are heard during investigations. And yes, Craddock, we're fixing to get to you, because was this even offered to them? I'm going to have to ask Seth about this. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But anyway, to ensure victims are treated with dignity and respect, and that's from the law and everybody else, and that voices are heard during the investigations and legal proceedings, if there's any. Keeping victims informed and update victims about the process of investigations or any court cases, and keeping them updated as much as legally possible. That's right, and not being ignored. Absolutely. So victims advocates do not conduct investigations or arrest people or act as lawyers. Their role is strictly to support and guide the victim and the family. So since Jennifer brought that up, I just wanted to go into it. And in a case like Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, the law enforcement is handling the case. They make sure that they're handling the case properly. So they help make sure. So I don't know if Seth hears this or not tonight. Sometimes he hears it and sometimes he don't. But it would, in my opinion, be a good idea to have one of these. I would take them in a heartbeat. That's just me and my own personal opinion. And they can get things that others can't. And this is what scares Sumner County and other police departments, because they can get information that others can't. And they take it back to people that are the victims because they are your advocate, okay? And there is where lies the problem, in my opinion. They keep the family informed. They explain every legal process happening. They provide emotional support. They help with safety and mental health resources. They ensure that the family understands everything. And if they aren't doing that, the family has every right to demand another person or better. So Seth, and I'm just speaking to Seth, if you don't have one, you have the right to demand one if nobody offered you one. Okay? If nobody offered you one, you have the right to have one. And, I would love to ask the victims program. I would. Are they involved? And if not, why not? Now, remember though, a parent can refuse or decline services from a victim advocate in a missing child's case. And here's how it works. Victims advocate services are voluntary and not mandatory, okay? And if a parent or guardian doesn't want to work with the assigned victim or advocate, they can just say so, in my opinion. They just can. Just say so. You don't like the kid's teacher at school? Go to the office and tell them you want another teacher. That's all you do. It's simple. People need to not make things so complicated, in my opinion. The advocate cannot force communication or meetings or services on the family. They can't do that. Law enforcement, however, is still required to investigate the Sebastian Rogers case, regardless if you have an advocate or not. An advocate may keep their ass moving. So regardless of whether you have an advocate or not, they still have to investigate this case. Now, the reasons a parent might decline a victim advocate, they feel an advocate might be biased or supporting one side or the other of the family. So this is just my thought. It's just my thought. if that's the case, or you have that, and I'm speaking to anybody that might come through my channel that ever needs one, it may not even pertain to this case. Just ask for your own. If there's family conflict, ask for yours and they can have theirs. I'm just saying. Everybody's grown. Now, they don't trust the advocate to, they think they're going to mishandle or lack of communication. Well, then again, just request a new one if you don't think they're doing their job. If somebody's not doing their job or you don't think they're doing something right, just request another one. Okay? And then they prefer to work with private resources or legal counsel instead. And that's understandable, but in my opinion, you should do both. I would do both. I would get every resource open to me, in my opinion. And another reason they might deny is if they feel overwhelmed and they want space and, all that kind of stuff. Look, I get it. I feel overwhelmed in everyday life. I could not imagine walking in somebody's shoes like this every day. I just really couldn't. Not knowing what to do, knowing who to trust and where to turn. Nope, couldn't do it. But if you get overwhelmed and you have somebody like this, my advice again, and maybe I don't have the best advice, but my advice again would be just tell them, just like you do somebody calling your house or, whatever. Look, I can't deal with this right now. I can't talk right now. Let me call you in a few days. And if I don't call you, then you call me back at that time. I'm just going through this. I'm overwhelmed right now. It needs to chill out right now, basically. And then another reason may be they believe the advocate is not genuinely advocating for their child. Again, go back to number one. If that's the case, then you can always ask for somebody who you think is, somebody who is doing better, or, talk to them first. Hey, it don't seem like you're doing XYZ. What's going on? But yes, that's some reasons why they might turn them down. But even if a parent declines an assigned advocate, they can request. I found that out. They can request a different one. They can, seek people from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They can still, even if they were offered it and didn't take it, for example, they can still push for updates and transparency, just like Seth Rogers is doing through law enforcement directly. The bottom line is victim advocacy is meant to be a resource, not a requirement. If the assigned advocate isn't truly supporting the parent, especially in a case as sensitive as Sebastian Rogers, that parent has every right to decline or question or demand better. That is a true story. A victim advocate is a professional who provides these resources, this support and guidance to the victims of a crime and their families. And we know law enforcement has not kept in touch with Seth, and Seth is banging down the doors of Sumner County with the news media. For Christ's sake, Brandon Carter and Craddock, take time out of your day and try to save face at least. What are you doing? I mean, y'all are not even trying to pretend. I'm sure that they do have open. I'm sure that they would, you know. But again, since it's not a requirement, you know, it doesn't hurt to try it out. And I mean, that's just my opinion. I would take every resource. You know, when Seth went to the police department with the news media, he called beforehand and let them know he was coming with a news crew. You would think one of them or a representative for one of them, even the receptionist, I don't know, somebody would walk outside and make time for a grieving father trying to find answers for his son. It's been 16 months. This is unacceptable and it's unbelievable. And I bet you Seth can think of another word that starts with U. For him, downright unbearable. Unbearable. Sumner County should stand up. They should take accountability. If I was Seth, and this is just me, I don't know what happened. I'm here, Millie. I'm here. Thank you. I don't know. It just went poof. It just went poof. Somebody didn't like me to tell Seth what to do, I guess. Yeah, I was getting gone there for a minute. Hey, somebody pulled the plug on me. Oh, God, I went bye-bye. I didn't almost know what to push these buttons and do. But if I was Seth, oh, God, FBI's in my computer. They don't like me tonight, honey. They are unplugging my stuff. You got scared. I got scared, Millie. But if I was Seth, I would go question. I would go question the audio thing in the car. I would go question the audio thing and make sure, you know, for myself, audio, video. That's what I would do. And, you know, I would ask them, has your office had access to verify the timing on that audio? And has any independent forensic review of that audio been conducted? You know? If not, why not? And what steps can be taken? And what transparency can be given? He's owed answers. Not us, but he is. Ooh, I hope so. I'd be like poltergeist going through that TV. That almost scared me. He's owed answers, though. And I would ask them definitely about the victim advocate services. If they had, you know, if they haven't touched on that already, I don't know. But I would ask them about that because, like I said, it's not mandatory. If a parent or guardian doesn't want to work with them, then that's up to them. They cannot force them to. But unfortunately, sometimes Ellie will not. Jennifer forgot to leave that out. Sometimes Ellie won't offer the victim advocate support system. And I would be interested to know if that was offered to Seth and or Katie. Because unfortunately, in a high-profile case like this, agencies sometimes avoid offering those services. You know why they do that? They do that to keep tighter control on what information reaches the family. And they want to make sure the advocate don't keep pressuring them for updates, and that they remind families, because they remind families of their rights and all that. And so they're getting pressure from both ends. Right, Joe? And they're getting pressure from both ends, honestly. But now we are talking about Sumner County, and in my opinion, I think there's a lot they don't want the family to know that an advocate really could leak out or tell, because they are for the victims. Or in this case, should we say suspects? I'm just saying. Some cops may just have a pissy pretty boy attitude, and it might slip. I mean, I can't help myself. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. If the truth is the truth, you can't dress it up and button it up. You just can't. You can't put what did Nancy Grace used to say? You can't put lipstick on a pig. Well, I can't put a pretty little dress on Craddock and button it up and put some little rosy lipstick on his cheeks. I just can't do it. And I can't zip my lips long enough. I'm sorry. Oh, God. I'm sorry. I apologize. Somebody keeps coming in here telling me they got bail money, so I sure hope somebody's got some bail money. I may never be able to go home again. They may not be stalking Bull Betty. They may be Cyrene and Smiley. Oh, yeah. Just keep some gum in my... If they pull me over, I'll say, here, darling. Here, pretty boy. Just teasing, y'all. Oh, Lord, have mercy. What is up with this case, Lord? But he does have that pretty boy attitude. He really does. Chewing that gum, smacking that gum, Lord. It's like scratching a chalkboard. But it might have slipped their minds. I'm just saying. Y'all chill out. Y'all are making me laugh. And Joe. Oh, Joe. But they might scream. No filters needed when the truth is the truth, Smiley. That's true. That's true. Well, what I was going to say is he might get that pretty boy pissy ass attitude, and he might scream, we don't have the funds. We don't have the funds. Well, that's too bad. Find the funds. I bet you can find the funds quicker than you even attempted to find missing people that's in that county, honestly. Now that we found out there was a bunch of missing people in that county, we're not going to let Sebastian go cold like they did. We don't want that to happen. That's what we don't want to happen. He needs some of that church gum, right? Oh, I can see him. Come sit by me on this pew at church. I think he's at the wrong one. I think he's up there at that fella church, whatever, that one up there, chewing that gum, smacking that gum. Oh, Lord, sticking that gum. Could you see his mama pulling him by the ear? Boy, get that gum out of your mouth. And I could see him sticking it up under the pew. I just say, oh, gosh. Now that, I bet, was a bad little kid. Maybe he didn't get in trouble so he could be a cop, but I'm just saying, I could tell he was a handful. Billy knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, the coffee church, Kiki. Yep, that church. I say find the funds, honey. I say find the funds, though. But even if the sheriff doesn't do the victim advocate thing, families have the right to request one, and they can demand services. They can demand them through TBI. They can demand them through the, Sumner County or the victims support group, nonprofit places. You can also write a demand letter for one. So Seth Rogers, as Sebastian's father, has every right to demand action, accountability, and support, even if he does not have an advocate. Even if he don't, he has every right to demand action and accountability and support, regardless of how the sheriff office, has chosen to handle things. These are some things he can do. He can formally request regular and written updates from law enforcement. If he didn't know that. And if they're not giving it to him, he needs to be writing all that down. But yeah, he can do that. He can, even if they can't reveal every detail or everything, they owe him basic information. They owe him transparency. And as the parent of a missing child, he can continue to ask for that and get updates on that. He can continue to speak to local and national media. If they like that, okay, then keep going for it. There's nothing wrong with it. And keep Sebastian's case in the spotlight and apply pressure to law enforcement, because that's what it's going to take. And it's legal. I looked it up. There's nothing wrong with it. Some may not agree with it, but I looked it up and it's fine. Legally, he can apply pressure on law enforcement, and he can encourage witnesses to come forward. He can highlight failures on their inaction, and he can do all of this legally with no questions asked. He's not been powerless, but the system often makes families feel powerless, and that's what they're doing to him. And in my opinion, they're jerking him around, and it's wrong. His best path forward, he knows what it is. However, it's just persistence. Be persistent, which I know he's going to do. Legal pressure, media attention, never stop in the fight for his son. And I know he won't. And we all know we will never stop. We're never going to stop fighting. We're never going to stop searching. We're never going to stop talking about Sebastian. I just can't. I can't stress it enough. Until the community, media, and those in power refuse to accept silence, Sebastian remains missing. And the questions remain unanswered. That is unacceptable. Yeah, how hard could it be to do a press conference, a little presser? Oh, except this time, could you just do the favor to the world? Even if you had to bring a wallet-size photo and hold it up of Sebastian, that would be great. That would be great. But as I was looking back, just as a reminder, in the couple of pressers that they didn't even have a flyer up of Sebastian. That's just wrong. That is so wrong. Look, I've kept y'all on here long enough. I have run my mouth long enough. But I appreciate you coming in here. I appreciate all of you mods staying up with me. Honey, y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all chose to be here with Smiley. Woo-hoo! Thank you. Thank you, Millie. Thank you all for who all came in. I love you all. We just got to keep pushing. Oh, and I enjoy y'all, Mama Rissa. Y'all need to drop your channel. And also, what night did y'all decide you're going live again? On your channel. I can't remember now. I saw it, but I can't remember. I've been so busy these last few days. It's been crazy. He doesn't want a press conference, in your opinion, because he would be asked questions. Right. Exactly. And they need to answer some questions and not the same. They just need to be truthful and transparent, because exactly what are they doing? Oh, Friday at 8. Okay, Friday at 8. Y'all go over and watch them Friday at 8. And they're going to talk about Sebastian. Their channel's all about Sebastian. Oh, God, Friday. Okay, I'm going to put this on here. And we'll go over and watch all them. Thank you for what all y'all are doing, Mama Rissa. Hindsight and every BMW coupe, everybody. Okay, Little Red, you have safe travels, because especially, Friday, or you're gonna have to do a replay. You're traveling Friday night. Okay, Friday night. So it's like, Lord, girl, I thought this was Monday. You mean you're gonna be traveling Friday night? Oh, my brain. I got to go get me a shower and go in there and get my butt in the bed. Oh, my goodness. But thank you all for being here. And I appreciate you. Just keep pushing for Sebastian. Keep putting his name out. Keep putting his flyers out. And if you know anything, say something. Say something. 1-800-TBI-FIND, 615-451-3838. And just do whatever you can. If you think that you see him, dial 911. And that's all I can tell y'all tonight. So y'all have a great night. Love you and see you tomorrow. Bye.